The story begins with a mysterious man saying, "There are heavily armed groups all over the world, but there's only one thing they all have, and that is Peter." The most surprising thing is that a killer like him is an old man in his 60s, but he would have died as a legend if he had died back then. Now he is being hunted by thousands of assassins, and he has also lost all his possessions. Don't you think this is all a load of crap? And he's saying this to a guy dressed with a giant doll's head, and he continues talking, saying that his loyalty to the organization was legendary, and now he's being threatened by the same organization. The guy, totally worn out and beaten up, asks if this person in front of him isn't Peter, and the guy really has a giant doll's head on and a gun in his hand. The guy on the ground continues talking, saying no matter how much he thinks, it just doesn't make sense. Millions of eyes are watching you and are after your life, but why aren't you dead yet and haven't even been discovered? Even if you are the legendary Peter. This doesn't make any sense at all. The guy with the doll's head asks if he really wants to know the answer. Even with thousands, no, actually tens of thousands of eyes watching him, they will never be able to find him. Do you really want to know why? It's simple. Unfortunately, the Peter you're looking for now doesn't exist anymore. And when he starts taking off the mask, the other guy becomes more and more surprised, his eyes widening completely as he sees that scene. After he sees his face, he understands why no one can find him, and in that way, Peter finishes off that henchman. After that, the story goes back 3 months in the past, and here we are in a bookshop, an ordinary bookstore. The phone message says he has to visit the hospital urgently, otherwise he'll die in less than 3 months. He is very sick, with many boxes of pills to take, and the old man is really worn out. But he keeps thinking he doesn't fear death after all he's been through and witnessed. He has walked the line between life and death many times, but has no regrets. He keeps looking at a book on how to take good photos and continues thinking he has lived a life without regrets. But now that he stops to think about it, the reality is that he has never taken a photo in his life because, as the world's greatest assassin, no one could know his true identity, right? And this old man keeps putting away the books. At the same time, someone knocks on the door and enters, asking if anyone is there. She sees the old man and says she is here to buy some elementary school textbooks. The old man senses her presence, becomes a bit serious, but then turns all smiley and says she is welcome. Here is a bookstore that has all kinds of books. She asks if there are any used books, and he says they have books from the 1960s to the new edition of 2020 and asks which one she would like. She says it's for her younger brother, and the old man says she looks like a high school student. She confirms this, and he asks if she is in her 3rd year because of the color of her scarf. She replies that he is very perceptive, and he says he knows this because he knows everyone in this town. He then separates some books, and when she looks, all the books she needs are on the table. He asks if that's not what she was planning to buy. She says she only has 1,000 ons and can't buy all of them, and these books have never been used. What she wanted was something cheaper, but the old man says it's no big deal, she can use them. These books would just be collecting dust on the shelf otherwise. She insists that he doesn't need to do this, but he persists, saying he can see in her eyes how much she loves her brother. So just be a good person to him while you can or you will regret it, which leaves her shocked. She becomes a bit shy and says he doesn't need to do this, but then he turns to get another box of books. After hearing what he said, she asks if he has ever regretted anything in life. He tells her that the longer you live, the more regrets you have, but there is nothing you can do about it. He remembers a child, a girl being taken from him, thinking that it was the only way for that person and her daughter to survive. He tells the girl that you can't do anything about past regrets, but you probably wouldn't understand what he's talking about, so always take care of your younger brother and don't do something you will regret later. Just turn around and leave. But after he says this, she already has a knife in her hand, ready to attack him from behind. Calm and composed, he says he won't kill her if she leaves now, which leaves her completely surprised, wondering how the old man knew. He says he memorized the faces of all the students in the school but had to be sure, so he asked if she was in the 3rd year. He says it's a pity because the school in this neighborhood only goes up to the 2nd year, so from the beginning, she was in the palm of his hand. The old man continues talking, saying the last thing he noticed is that she smells of blood because he has smelled that same scent all his life, so she couldn't cover it with any cheap perfume. She gets very angry because he has been toying with her from the start, and she prepares to strike again. But looking directly at him, she feels that if she advances, she will be the one to die. The old man is looking at her with a psychopathic expression. As the old man moves, she gets all scared and steps back, but he just places the books on the table and says she can take the books and leave because he knows that having a little brother is real, and he's been doing this for 50 years, so he can read a person just by looking into their eyes. He asks her if she is also from the Glory Orphanage like he is, and this teaching method hasn't changed in decades, which leaves her very surprised. But still talking to her, he thinks she hasn't learned anything because in their organization, if the voluntary service fails, Plan B goes into action. He then advances towards her, grabbing her by the neck, which surprises her a lot. But she's thinking, what the hell is Plan B? And when she realizes there are two armed men jumping on them, they start shooting, but he manages to save the girl and run behind other shelves. He explains to her that if the mission fails, the volunteer must also be neutralized, which leaves her very surprised, wondering if they would really kill her just for failing. But she notices he was shot and the bullet went through his stomach, and the men continue shooting nonstop. He grabs the girl by the arm and manages to drag her to another shelf, but at the same moment, he pulls out a hidden gun and points it at the two men. But now the two have the girl in their possession, and he thinks this is all a mess. He hesitated for a moment, and now the two are at an advantage. He gets a strong punch in the face, and the man, thinking he's the greatest, asks if this old man is really the Peter everyone talks about. After this, the old man is thrown to the ground, and another guy appears saying that his deeds surpass all, and his reputation is the most well-known in the world. But it seems that the legendary Peter is nothing when it comes to a disease. This guy is called 8 Tentacles, at least that's his code name. The old man tells this guy to stop talking nonsense and asks why they want to kill him so much. The bald guy says the boss is upset with him, but the old man is surprised why all of a sudden. The bald guy says he should have known that when he left, there would be thousands of people after his head, and it's no use regretting it because the bounty on his head is 7.6 billion ins. The old man asks, 7.6? That's funny because my bounty is exactly the same amount as what's in my bank account. The man says he's absolutely right. The bounty is basically all the money you've accumulated during your life, but now this money will go into other people's hands. The man starts laughing maniacally, saying that this is very fortunate, so veteran Peter, please die by our hands. He then gets punched in the face again, and the men start beating him up, saying that it's time for him to die. He just has to keep quiet and hand over the money to them. After being hit several times, he is thrown into a small storage room. The men watching falls, and they think he's knocked out. 8 Tentacles approaches, but at that moment, the old man says that before anything else, he has a little present for them. The old man starts laughing, and when he notices there's a flash grenade flying right at his face. This flash grenade is so strong that it blinds everyone for a moment, and when they realize it, the man has already fled. They start saying that he probably won't get very far because he's bleeding a lot, and in the background, the girl is thinking about why that old man saved her. After running for a while, he stops at a children's playground and hides under the play structures. It's raining at this moment, and he has already lost a lot of blood after running this entire distance. He's thinking he didn't even have the strength to fight properly, all because he got old. He's suffering a lot from this pain, but he thinks that looking back, his life was all about the organization. While others held pencils in their hands, he bled for 365 days to learn how to hold a knife. While others learned to use social media, he learned to staple and sew until his ears bled. While others went on dates and learned about love, he became a Russian spy living with frostbite. And while others started their families and had normal lives, he was fighting in the middle of a terrorist group to survive. He essentially worked with his life on the line for many years, but the situation changed when a new boss took control of the organization. This guy, with his legs crossed, asked if he was going crazy. He had high hopes for Peter's reputation, but now he was very sick and weak. This was what Peter heard when he approached his meeting room. The new boss told the others that this old man needed to be discarded, and thinking about all of this, he became very sad because he had given everything to the organization. He never wished for any greetings or honor. He wonders why his life has always been so pathetic. They shouldn't be doing this to him because he gave 100% to the organization. He feels a very strong sense that he cannot die there. He cannot let them take all his money. He thinks that this money, the money he accumulated throughout his life, must be given to those people. He starts crying, completely desperate and without any strength left. The old man dies in the middle of the children's playground. The scene then shifts to 8 Tentacles' hideout, and those two guys from earlier start talking about how they almost caught a big fish worth 7.6 billion ons. The other guy wonders why that old man is worth so much money. One of them explains that it's the least they should do because that guy is a legend. But the long-haired guy says that this business of being a legend is nonsense. Nothing comes before money. They start looking at the photo of that old man and say that they themselves will be the ones to kill this old man. But while they are mocking the photo of the old man, someone arrives and says, "Did you know this is the first photo of me?" When they realize it, there's a young man in front of them. They ask why that guy is there, and the young man says they shouldn't have taken a photo of him in the first place. But the guys, comparing the old man with that guy, say that since his clothes look very similar, they thought it was the same person. The guy who arrived out of nowhere starts talking, saying he doesn't know when he woke up, he was already like this. Then the guy goes up to him, grabs his shoulder and says, "Sorry, but I think you got the wrong place. This is not a place where a student like you should enter." And then the guy says, "Hey man, actually, I came here knowing everything, so you can stop wasting my time and take me to where 8 Tentacles is." With that, the two guys look at each other very suspiciously, and the long-haired guy asks if this guy is in the same business as them, but he doesn't know what he's doing here because if someone from the same business enters here, he must die. So he prepares to strike that boy, but when he realizes it, the boy has already grabbed his arm with one hand and he is completely surprised, wondering what kind of strength this is. He blocked his punch with his bare hands. In the boy's mind, he remembers that a few hours ago, this long-haired guy beat him up badly, and with all the hatred in the world, he simply breaks the guy's fingers, crushing them with his hand. The other guy comes to attack him with a knife from behind, but at the same moment, he realizes it and delivers several blows to various vital points on his body, causing him to fall to the ground unconscious. The other guy, realizing how strong he is, asks who the hell he is. He threatens him with a knife in his hand, but the boy says that those who handle cutlery are third class, those who master all weapons are second class, and the first class use anything and everything as a weapon. So he simply grabs several octopus tentacles and uses them as a weapon, which leaves the guy very surprised. How is he going to use octopus tentacles to attack me? But at the same moment, he says that this guy is just talking nonsense and goes at him with a machete. But in an instant, he throws one of the tentacles at the sword, and he is disarmed in an instant. When he realizes it, he is being strangled by his own tentacles. He is very scared by this, and the boy simply lifts him into the air and throws him onto a very hot pan, causing the pan to bend completely. That must have hurt a lot. And now, with the two unconscious, the long-haired guy walks a bit conscious, asks who he is and why he came there. The boy picks up the photo from the ground and starts remembering that 8 Tentacles had said the bounty on his head was 7.6 billion, and that thousands of people would be after his head. So, veteran Peter, please die by my hands. After recalling this moment, he says that this is the only photo they have of his face. But Peter, a man who was once called the best in the field, the best assassin in the world, became a younger version of himself when he opened his eyes. He simply burns the photo with a cigarette in his hand and says that even if thousands of people come after him, the old Peter they are looking for no longer exists because he is dead. He then burns the only photo the world has of him. In another moment, 8 Tentacles is in the car with that girl talking, and he says he needs to capture him as soon as possible. However, given his low life expectancy due to cancer, it would be nice of him to just surrender to them, don't you think? The girl remains silent, listening to what he is saying. After that, the scene changes to the guy who found the location of where 8 Tentacles might be. It's a restaurant, but after he opens the door, he realizes there's no one there with Sisa. He tells 8 Tentacles that his life has been extended. Then he heads towards the subway. People looking at him wonder who this guy is to be so young, handsome, and strong. He is very surprised, looking at himself in the mirror, wondering if this really makes sense. The bullet that was lodged in his waist has disappeared, and the pain from the cancer he was feeling has also vanished. But he's not hallucinating. He has become young again. He doesn't understand how this can happen and doesn't know the reason for all this, but anyway, what matters is that they won't recognize him. He can basically infiltrate among all of them, and they will never recognize him. Before thinking about anything else, he thinks he should look for new clothes. He starts listening to a conversation between two guys. One of them says the payment of 80 million ons has been made. After looking at those two, the one on the left asks if the chubby guy is wearing Louis Vuitton with that money, and the guy says he knows nothing. Those clothes are part of the business. The chubby guy continues, saying that if he rolls up his sleeves and shows a watch while making a deal, the kids won't think twice about signing. But then our protagonist approaches them and apologizes, saying this is a no-smoking area, and asks if they could go elsewhere to smoke. This leaves them quite irritated, and they ask who this guy is, both of them getting very angry and confronting him, asks if he's talking to them, and then he responds with another question, is there anyone else smoking here? But then the guy gives him a few slaps on the face and tells him to get out of there or he might get in a bad mood and start a fight with him. With that, the protagonist thinks, all right, I'm not going to waste my time with this kind of people, and he simply leaves. The two start talking, saying that this guy was a fool for trying to act like that with them. He really wants to die. But after everyone leaves the bathroom, only the three of them remain. He simply locks the door and thinks that, without wasting time, he will finish this quickly. After locking the door, he goes back to the two guys and they ask what the hell he's doing there. He rolls up his sleeves and says he's going to show what happens when you disrespect elders in the East. The guy prepares to slap him and says he's just an arrogant kid and he's going to die today. But at the same moment, he lands a punch right in the guy's stomach, causing him a lot of pain, and he simply falls unconscious to the ground after one blow. The other guy, very irritated, asks who he is and if he knows who they are. The protagonist says he doesn't know them, but he knows that knife, the pocket knife, which leaves the guy very surprised. What do you mean? But the protagonist says he's holding it wrong. If you hold it that way, you'll cut your fingers while swinging it, which leaves the guy very surprised. He starts laughing at the kid, asking him who said he was going to swing that weapon. The protagonist gets very serious and says that he said it, the person who's going to stab you. But at the same moment, the guy, very angry with him for mocking him like that, goes at him and tells him to shut up. With the knife in hand, he tries to stab him right in the neck, but the protagonist manages to disarm him and delivers a blow right to his neck, causing him a lot of pain. He falls to the ground, screaming in pain, and the protagonist says he didn't stab him because if he had, he would already be dead. He falls to the ground, asking who this kid is. The protagonist says he doesn't know what kind of illegal things they do, but if they find out who he is, and then he gets very close to the guy and starts squeezing his shoulder, saying that he will have to die here if he finds out who he is, which leaves the guy trembling with fear. Looking at the guy trembling with fear, he says that his pants will fit him, and the guy doesn't understand anything. What do you mean, my pants? After he basically steals the clothes from those guys, he starts to leave until he gets a new cell phone. He takes his cell phone and sees that his 7.6 billion has disappeared, and remembers that he told no one to touch his money, but in the end, they messed with the wrong person, and he gets very angry. He leaves the subway and starts walking through the city, and he hears two young people talking about getting scholarships from the Glory Club. He starts thinking that the place where he grew up was the orphanage called Honor, which was run by a small religious organization. Now, after 50 years, this small organization has become a headquarters with influence in all sectors of politics and the business world, using the name Club Glory as a mask. This makes him very angry, and he thinks that this is an organization he was a part of, so he will destroy it with his own hands. In another moment, we are in a warehouse, possibly a cold storage facility, and a man sitting on a small chair asks another person if he is the only one who came to capture him. Then 8 Tentacles reappears and says that he is not the Peter he is looking for, and given the level of this guy, he can defeat him alone. The guy starts laughing at him, saying that those in Club Glory are being very greedy, and they will end up dying very soon by relying only on Peter. The other guy says who cares if someone dies sooner or not. Now let's finish the introductions. You should know that if I finish this quicker, it will be less painful. With that, the guy continues laughing at him, saying he is just a rookie and talks too much for a rookie, telling him that he has prepared a grand feast for him. With that, 8 Tentacles is surrounded by several men, and these men are part of the mercenary company HNA. The old man starts thinking that although he knows this guy in front of them is not one of the 12 apostles of Club Glory, why does he have so much confidence? He then orders those men to take care of him. They all go at him at the same instant, but after a little while the scene completely changes to a chair covered in blood. With that, the old man who was all confident falls to the ground, saying it's impossible. What the hell happened here? How could a human do this? He is totally terrified, looking at the face of the other 8 Tentacles, who really looks like a psychopath. He says that for someone who prepared a banquet for him, this banquet turned out to be much simpler than he thought. He is simply with his neck twisted. What is this, man? Also, with a man intertwined in his body, it really looks like he is an octopus, and the guy is all purple or blue. I don't know, maybe I am colorblind. It then appears that this 8 tentacles is of rank B, and his characteristic is hyper-flexibility. The guy starts screaming in fear, telling him to stay away, but at the same moment with his neck still twisted, he already goes after him. In another scene, they return to that restaurant where he should have been when Peter went to look for him. He and that girl start talking, saying that the cameras were destroyed and there is no evidence that a weapon was used, so there is only one person who could do this, Peter. He did not think that old man was still alive, and now he has started killing the guys, but anyway, Peter's bounty will soon be in their account. So you just need to inform me of Peter's whereabouts as soon as possible. She thinks that the old man was so kind to her and even saved her life, so she kind of has a feeling of not wanting to betray him, but in the end, she just says, "Yes, sir." After they open the door, they are very surprised. That waiter says they weren't open today but asks what brings this guy here. "Did you make a reservation with us?" And there is Peter, whom they still do not recognize. He says no, he does not have a reservation for today, but he does have a grudge. With this, the bald guy says, "A grudge? You're here for money?" He replies that yes, it is a large amount, a sum of 7.6 billion. He gets very serious, and the guy starts laughing at him. After a second, he switches to a psychopathic face and tells everyone to lock the doors. He starts saying that whether he is linked to Peter or not, he will not leave here alive. But he keeps thinking, who is this kid and how does he know about Peter? He definitely isn't part of the club. After locking the doors, the waiter grabs a gun and starts reloading it. Then the other tentacle says it's okay, he'll give him a chance to live. You have 2 options. Option 1, you give me Peter's whereabouts and leave alive. Or option 2, you resist and die with a bullet to the head. He starts mocking, saying, what should I choose, huh? But he quickly gets serious again, hair covering his eye, and says no one has survived after hearing this. So how about this? Option 3, I am Peter, and I'm the one who killed your subordinates. This makes the bald guy very angry, and he asks, what is this kid talking about? But then he says, how can someone so young hear so poorly? I killed those 2 people. So it was this guy who's attacking us, and there's our protagonist, calmly eating. And we'll see it in the next episode. Remember to subscribe and leave a like.